Welcome back. We're officially 2/3 of the way through Season 1 2020 of the BMW 12.0 Challenge. It's week 8, we're at Zandvoort. This is a course of many curves and many curbs, and we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about how badly we need to avoid most of these curbs, that it's treacherous here. Fantastic course, tons of bends, barely a straight in sight. Let's get to it in the usual way. We'll do an in-car lap. We'll slow that lap down, talk a little bit about the highlights, and then we'll go out into like a zoomed out camera angle. We'll break down each corner. I had a 131.89 here this week. Reasonably happy with that. There's definitely more time on the table, but it didn't come easy. So let's break it down. And we'll really take our time with this one and see how we get on. Okay, let's have a slightly closer look at this lap then and see how we got on. I've included the sectors now because it seems to be much more useful for people watching. So we want to brake heavily at the 100 marker. We're coming down to second gear and we're taking a quite tight entry here. We want to hug the inside without hitting the curb, and then really nice and progressive back on the gas because it's very easy to lose traction around here. Straight over back to the left, we want to take some of this red curbing to widen up this entry. We're taking it quite fast actually, we're carrying a lot of speed through here. We stayed in third, now we're coming down to second, and again we're coming in quite tight here. We don't want to touch this curbing again. Progressive on the gas, out to the exit. Make sure you got all four wheels on the grey stuff before that curbing ends. We've got a fair period of flat out speed here. So we're just going to follow the line of the course round with our foot to the floor. You can take some of this first curb on the right, but don't take the second. And then we're out wide and we're going to dip down into fourth and just gently trail in to this apex here at the curbing. We want to make sure we're back on the gas 100% before that starts. Now, this is a tricky corner. We need to cut out to the left quite hard to widen the corner. Down into third and just trail to the apex and back on the gas as quick as you can. Take a wide exit here and then braking down into second, coming in quite tight to this apex. We don't want to track out wide, we want to stay mid-track here because we need to go far out to the right hand side of the course. And then we're going to dip back down into second and make this corner as wide as we can so we've got maximum acceleration with minimum steering angle, because it's a very treacherous corner. It's very deceiving. It's actually really easy to lose the back wheels around there. So we're back over to the left of the track here, and around about the white line we're coming down into second. We're cutting off as much of this right as we can, some accelerator, dab on the brakes, and then hard left and on the gas really quickly. You want your left hand wheels on the curbing there, on the red curbing. That's really important for that corner. So a gentle tap on the brakes and a trail in round there. You don't want to go any further than the red curbing on that corner. And then we need to keep our foot to the floor here for the final bend. This is all important. So we're going to work on that line on the next way round. When we go out, we'll zoom out. We'll have another look at the lap and break down each corner with braking points and apexes, so we can really make the best of this lap this week. Really challenging course, worth spending some extra time practicing here. We're working our way right over to the left hand side of the course. We're keeping an eye on the brake markers, and we want to get heavy on the brakes between the 100 marker and the white line. Keep heavy on those brakes all the way down to second gear, and then if you have a look at our turning angle here, we're actually coming in really quite tight. And the reason we're doing this is because we're almost essentially double apexing this corner, but B, there's a bit of camber here, and we want to get in tight to the corner so we can make the most of that, give us that extra grip that we need, and that's going to come up quite a lot. So we're going to hit the second apex, and then if you notice, we're being very progressive on the accelerator there. You can actually start accelerating really early, but do go easy. Less is more here. So we're going to come right over tight to the left again now. We want a couple of wheels on the curb, and then we are staying in third round here. We're trailing in gently. We're actually carrying a lot of speed through here. Back on the gas for a brief period of time. We're coming about mid-track here, and that's absolutely fine because we're going to brake and trail in for a similar corner to the last one, to be honest. Quite a late apex. Again, there's a good bit of camber here, and if you're on it, if you get in the groove, you can really carry a lot more speed round here. You know, it's going to really help push those front wheels into the concrete and keep you moving at a decent rate of knots. And then around about the end of the sort of tyre barrier, as it turns into that white concrete wall, we're back on the gas up to about probably 80, 90 plus %, but we're just holding off a bit just to make sure we're going to make this curb before we hit 100. You're okay on this curb, but do make sure that you get back on the grey stuff. I was quite lucky there to not get a 1x actually. Right, so we can be over quite far on the right here, but what we don't want to do is to take too much of that white triangle of concrete here. There's a big lump there, and it's going to lose you a little bit of time if you hit it. And then we're going to follow the line of the course here, follow the line led by the curbing, 100% flat out. You can take a good portion of the curbing coming up on the right here now, but the second lot you really do want to avoid, and this is where things start to get a little bit tricky. So we're just coming over the brow of the hill. The car's going to get a little bit light here. It's a little bit squiggly, and we're going to want to brake. Start our braking around about the middle of the curbing, about where the marshal post is. But we're only going to want to brake quite gently, up to about kind of 40-ish%. And then we're going to want to trail off that brake so that we can carry as much speed round here as possible, but maintain control over the car. It's actually really easy to kind of miss this corner altogether, effectively. So we're just gently trailing, and we're turning in nice and gently, and we want to start bringing the car tighter and tighter and tighter. So we apex at this curb. We've done a pretty good job here. We could have got a bit closer, but actually, like a lot of the curbs here this week, best avoided. too much curb here, and the car's going off into the gravel. So exit quite cleanly here, but we do want to stay over the left here, and we need to cut in left where the track widens. And it's quite a treacherous area there. It's very easy to get a wheel on the grass and turn the car there. And then we're heavy on the brake just after the line, about 50-55%, and then we're trailing in quite tight to this corner. It's a very wide exit. The temptation is to come in really wide and not start turning yet, but actually, because it's such a wide exit and it becomes wider, you can take it tighter and faster. If you take this line, you can definitely carry more speed. That curbing there's absolutely fine to bounce over. Back on the gas as soon as you're on that apex, and out nice and wide here. And then as soon as we see the marker on the right, the tight right turn marker, to about kind of 50 few percent, and then trailing down. And again, we're taking this corner quite tight, and we're trailing in extra deep here. A little bit later on the gas, but we want to come out mid corner anyway. So we've carried a good bit of speed through there. We're out mid corner because we need to get ourselves as far over to the right as quickly as possible and straighten up the car. It's very important to make sure that you straighten up the car here. And the braking mark is quite a tricky one to gauge. I mean, it's just, it's a bit of a blind brake, but I'm a few car lengths away from the little concrete road on the right. And then I'm also using that concrete road on the right to signal my turn, and I'm being very gentle on my turn in as I trail in. We want to apex this corner reasonably late, but if you notice, we're already on the gas. So we're a good portion on the gas before the replacement concrete starts on the track there. And we're moving up from 50, 60, 70%, 80%, really gradually, because it's so easy to turn the car here. It's untrue. And it's a very tricky line to take as well. But if you can get yourself straight on the entry, that's the most important thing. And then start your gradual turn in when the road on the right kind of starts, and keep it gradual, then you'll actually take the shortest line around this corner. It's a surprisingly demanding corner. So we've got a good run now down to one of the most exciting portions of the course. So we've got a tight right followed by a very long left, long tight left. And actually it pays to brake sooner here than later. So I am on the brake around about the 100 marker, just before, so between the line and the 100 marker essentially. We're keeping it really tight to the left. Now it's very easy to lose control here. If you drop a wheel on the grass, normally that's fine, but because we're in full braking zone here, it's going to spin the car very easily. So we're down to second, and we're starting our turn in just after the curbing ends on the left, and we're heavily trailing in, cutting off as much as we can here because we've immediately got to start our left-hand turn. So I'm back on the gas for a brief period of time here, and then I'm dabbing the brakes. I'm not braking hard, I'm braking enough to pitch the front of the car down, get those tyres really nicely gripped up. And then if you notice, I'm keeping my left wheels on the red and white curbing on the inside. I don't want to go any further inside than I am, but sticking ourselves there is actually really going to stick us to the road. We're following this curbing all the way around, and I'm getting on the gas really quickly. There's a change in the track there. There's a little stretch of lighter grey tarmac. We're on the gas before that, and I'm really quite firm on the gas here actually. And you can, because there is such a tilt in the track there that it's just going to make you stick to the road. You can take that corner a lot faster than you think, as long as you hit the inside and keep it on the inside. So we're off out to the left here. We're just going to gently trail in, keep it in third gear, around about the 50 marker, and then all we want to do is make sure that we're keeping the car tight to the inside curb here. We don't want to, it's not a pure braking zone, it's more of a just trailing the brake to keep you tight here. Now, the curbing here, you can take a lot more of this curb, but actually anything beyond the red and the white is going to unsettle the car. This whole section here is surprisingly easy to really muck up. There's like an off camber and a bounce on the exit to this corner, so you need to make sure, if you notice I'm hovering around 70-80% on the throttle there, because it'll keep the car settled. We want to be really wide here, as wide as we can get it. I could have been wider, I was probably a little bit cautious here, but this is the final corner, and this is the one that's going to make or break not only this lap, but your following lap as well. It's going to, a good couple of tenths for both laps easily. Really wide on the entry. We're starting our turn in at the end of the curbing here, but the apex is so late we can't even see it. So we need to, you can certainly follow the tyre marks on the road to lead you in, but you can just about see the lights on the right, and now we can see the right hand turn sign there. We can really start to tighten up gradually. The less steering angle you can use here, so the better the line you take, the less steering angle you're going to use. It's going to be a lot kinder on your tyres, and your tyres are going to last longer through the race, and you're also going to be a lot quicker as well. You're not scrubbing the speed by having the rubber torn off your tyres. So notice my steering angle doesn't get any more, than you can see here now. Now, this curb is a killer. Front wheel on that curb, your car's going to go around in circles and hit a wall. So don't get any closer to the curb than this. I literally kiss it with my front wheel and my car does a little wobble there. But then we're unwinding that steering angle to maximize our exit speed. And then it's a dash down to the line to finish our lap. So that was a 1:31.89. I hope this video was useful. It's a great week this week for real good racing. I think you're really going to enjoy it, but it's taxing. It's a lot of curves here and a lot of treacherous curves to avoid. Have a really good week. If this was useful, please do subscribe. Please do click the little bell, and you'll get notified when the next video comes out next week. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.